Story Central, Level 3, Class Audio CD 1. Student book by Angela Yanis and Libby Williams. Activity book by Sue Clark. Published by Macmillan Education, a division of Macmillan Publishers Limited. Copyright Macmillan Publishers Limited, 2015. Welcome. Welcome back, everyone. What do you like? Activity 2. What do you like? Activity 3. Chapter 1. Lesson 1. Activity 1. Chapter 1. Lesson 2. Activity 1. Chapter 1. Lesson 3. Activity 1. Chapter 1. Lesson 3. Activity 3. Chapter 1. Reader Story. Chapter 1. Lesson 5. Activity 1. Chapter 1. Lesson 5. Activity 4. Chapter 1. Lesson 6. Activity 1. Chapter 1. Review. Activity 1. Chapter 2. Lesson 1. Activity 1. Chapter 2. Lesson 2. Activity 1. Chapter 2. Lesson 3. Activity 1. Chapter 2. Lesson 3. Activity 3. Chapter 2. Reader Story. Chapter 2. Lesson 5. Activity 1. Chapter 2. Lesson 5. Activity 4. Chapter 2. Lesson 6. Activity 1. Chapter 2. Review. Activity 1. Chapter 3. Lesson 1. Activity 1. Chapter 3. Lesson 2. Activity 1. Chapter 3. Lesson 3. Activity 1. Chapter 3. Lesson 3. Activity 3. Chapter 3. Reader Story. Chapter 3. Lesson 5. Activity 1. Chapter 3. Lesson 5. Activity 4. Chapter 3. Lesson 6. Activity 1. Chapter 3. Review. Activity 1. Chapter 4. Lesson 1. Activity 1. Chapter 4. Lesson 2. Activity 1. Chapter 4. Lesson 3. Activity 1. Chapter 4. Lesson 3. Activity 3. Chapter 4. Reader Story. Chapter 4. Lesson 5. Activity 1. Chapter 4. Lesson 5. Activity 4. Chapter 4. Lesson 6. Activity 1. Chapter 4. Review. Activity 1. Chapter 5. Lesson 1. Activity 1. Chapter 5. Lesson 2. Activity 1. Chapter 5. Lesson 3. Activity 1. Chapter 5. Lesson 3. Activity 3. Chapter 5. Reader Story. Chapter 5. Lesson 5. Activity 1. Chapter 5. Lesson 5. Activity 4. Chapter 5. Lesson 6. Activity 1. Chapter 5. Review. Activity 1.